Today we will be talking about the second topic, which is about the earthquakes, elastic rebound theory. The outline of this course is about what is an earthquakes, how are earthquakes caused, the stress strain definitions and the stress strain relationship curve, and the elastic rebound theory. What is an earthquake? An earthquake is defined as a sudden ground movement caused by the sudden release of energy which is stored in the rocks. This is usually caused by the rupturing of a fault within the earth. Scientists who study earthquakes and their seismic activity are called as the seismologists. How are earthquakes caused? Within the earth, rocks are constantly subjected to forces which makes the rocks to bend, twist or fracture. When a rock bends or twists or fracture, they get deformed and this is called as a strain. Strain is defined as a change in shape or size. The forces that cause deformation are referred to as stresses. A stress is defined as a force applied per unit area. To explain a rock deformation, the stress and strain needs to be explained. The law which connects the stress and strain is called as the Hooke's law. Hooke's law states that within an elastic limit, the strain is directly proportional to the stress applied. The various stages of deformation. When a rock is subjected to an increasing stress, it changes its shape, size, or volume. When a stress is applied to a rock, the rock passes through three successive stages of deformation. The first one is the elastic stage, plastic stage, and then a fracture. This is the stress strain graph which shows us about the various regions of elasticity, plastic region, and the fracture. The elastic deformation is within an elastic limit, the stress is directly proportional to the strain. The strain is directly proportional to the stress, and the strain is reversible. So, the blue reason over here is satisfying the Hooke's law. Next is the green part of this curve shows us about the plastic region. So it is ductile deformation where when a stress is applied, the body does not regain its original shape. This strain is irreversible. The last stage of deformation is the fracture where the material breaks. So this is the point or breaking point or the point at which the earthquake occurs and a lot of energy is released. The elastic rebound theory. This is the earthquake which occurs in the San Francisco in 1906. After the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, Harry Phelan Reid explained and then studied about the displacement of the ground surface around the San Andreas Fault. From his observations, he has concluded that the earthquake must have been the result of the elastic rebound of the previously stored elastic strain energy in the rocks, which are in both the sides of the fault. The elastic rebound theory is explained with three time frames: time 1 frame, time 2 frame, and the third time frame. The first time frame is where the fault is along the two sides of the rock. The elastic theory is an explanation of how energy spreads during an earthquake. It was the first theory which satisfactorily explains about the earthquake. During the time zone 1, as the rocks on both sides of the fault are subjected to stress, they try to accumulate energy. E is nothing but the energy which is getting accumulated on both the sides of the fault. Slowly they get deformed, and if the rocks cannot withstand with the increasing stresses, the stresses tend to build on both the sides of the rocks. This is in the time frame 2. When the stresses cannot become too great, the fault breaks, and then this is during the time frame of 3. At this time, a sudden movement occurs in a fault, releasing the accumulated energy. This motion releases the stored elastic strain energy that causes an earthquake. The time period between the first time frame and the second time frame takes about months to hundreds of years, while